It had some intriguing moments. I had so much fun with this one. To be honest, I think there are better romances out there. Let's get a grip, Like you can tell a love story in that amount of time. Hello everyone, welcome back, or welcome if you're new. I'm Alicia, and today I am sharing my July and August reading wrap up. And I have so many books to talk about. We've got thrillers, romance, horror, a little bit of everything. I'll give you my thoughts, ratings, and mini descriptions of each book that I read so that you can decide if you want to put it on your TBR. So grab a drink, get cozy, and let's dive in. So the first genre we're going to cover is horror, and we're going to go from my least favorites to my most favorites. So let's talk about The Girl in 6E. This one I listened to the audiobook of on my Libby app, the library app, which is everything. If you've never checked it out, I highly recommend. Not the book, the Libby app. Because unfortunately, I gave this book 2 stars. So The Girl in 6E is about a cam girl living in complete isolation. She basically only lives in her apartment. She doesn't go outside. Even when she has packages delivered, she doesn't talk to anyone. She has the person just leave it at the door. She streams. Obviously, she's a cam girl, so she streams to make money online. So that's how she survives. And she does quite well at that job. She makes quite a bit of money. But she also is struggling with thoughts of unaliving people. So she thinks that she is a serial unaliver. And whether she is or not, you kind of find out throughout the book because there was definitely a traumatic thing that happened to her to make her feel that way. And then about halfway through the book, she finds out about a missing girl and she thinks that she has possibly the key to finding the missing girl. Personally, I felt like the idea of the book was a little bit better than the actual book. The beginning was super boring in my opinion. The missing girl part is what drew me in, and I was super interested in that, but it felt like it didn't come in until so far into the book, and like the first part of the book felt very unnecessarily long for no reason. So yeah, overall, it was not what I was hoping for, so I ended up giving it 2 stars, and I personally would not recommend. Now let's talk about my 3-star books in the horror genre. We have Mayfly. Mayfly follows a woman who works at the happiest place on earth. If you get it, you get it. If you know, you know. And she works at the happiest place on earth as everyone's favorite frozen princess or frozen queen. Queen. If you know, you know. But when her best friend's brother moves to town, he awakens something dangerous in her. But it was also something that has always been there. Him coming into the picture does change some things and set some things off, but from what I remember about this book, she was always kind of that way. So yeah, it had some intriguing moments for sure, but there was a little bit too much gore and body horror for my liking. I like more of a thrilling psychological horror is just more my cup of tea. And I didn't fully connect with the writing or the characters personally, so that's why I gave this one 3 stars. I wouldn't recommend just because I think there are so many better books out there that you would enjoy more, so I wouldn't recommend. Next, we have Youth Juice. Youth Juice is this wild satirical horror about a beauty company and a dangerous miracle product. Think American Psycho meets The Devil Wears Prada. It was entertaining, I will say, but I couldn't fully connect to the characters personally, so I gave this one 3 stars, and I wouldn't recommend. Personally, it fell too short for me, so yeah, I would not recommend this one. And we did not have any 4 stars in the horror genre, but we did have 2 standouts. We had 2 5 stars in the horror genre. Chlorine. So Chlorine follows a high school swimmer, Ren, who wants to become a mermaid no matter the cost. It was horrifying, beautiful, and heart-wrenching all at the same time. And I loved every minute of it, and I really, really loved the writing. So that's why this one was 5 stars, and I highly recommend. Then we have another audiobook, Confessions, that I listened to on Spotify, and I absolutely love this one. 5 stars, 100%. It follows a teacher whose daughter was unalived by some of her students, and she is out for revenge. I loved the twists and the suspense. It was a total page turner until the very end. 5 stars, absolutely. So horror-wise, I had some highs, I had some lows this summer, but Chlorine and Confessions were the standouts and my favorites. Next category is thriller. So I only read 1 thriller in the last 2 months, which is crazy for me because I am usually a thriller, like that's all I read. A lot of the time thrillers are my bread and butter. It was a very romance heavy, I will tell you guys, it was a very romance heavy last 2 months. Like, I don't know, I was just super into the romance. But this thriller that I read with a vengeance, One Train No Stops, A Deadly Game of Survival and Revenge. It was suspenseful, well-paced at parts. It was very much, I was kind of in between 3 and 4 stars for it. I ended with 4 because I thought I liked the love story. If I'm being honest, I really liked the romance in it. Apparently I'm just in the romance mood right now because I probably would have given this 3 stars if not for the romance aspect that I really enjoyed. It's not my favorite Riley Sager book, but I did think it was pretty well done. So 4 stars for me. And I would recommend, but again, it's not my favorite Riley Sager book. So there are definitely other Riley Sager books that I would recommend over this one. But overall, it was pretty good. Next up, we have my favorite category of the past 2 months, romance. We did not have any 2-star romances at all in these past 2 months. So I'm going to start with our 3-star romances. We have Wild Love. This is the first book in this Elsie Silver series, Rose Hill. So in this one, we follow a small town romance between Ford Grant, the world's hottest billionaire, and Rosie, the best friend's little sister, who asks Ford for a job. It was very cute, very fun, but it was a little bit long. Like if you can see, it's pretty hefty, and it was just a little bit long for what it was. At first I was like, do I have a very short attention span? But there is a 5-star that's probably even longer than this one, and it's a romance, and I gave it 5 stars and I loved every minute of it. So I'm like, no, I think this one just wasn't as well done as some of her other books. 2/3 of the way through, I was super bored of the story. So to be honest, I think there are better romances out there. I haven't read the rest of this series yet, so I don't know if I would recommend it just so that you could read the rest of the series with all of the context maybe. But if I'm not thinking about the fact that it's a series, I would not recommend. I just don't think it's anything that special. Then we have Girl Abroad by Elle Kennedy. Girl Abroad is about a 19-year-old girl who gets the opportunity to study abroad in London, and she ends up finding herself in the middle of a love triangle, and her roommates that she thought were all girls end up being all boys. It was cute and fun, again, just like Wild Love, but again, it was just like longer than it needed to be. Like I thought there was so much to the story that just didn't need to be there. I don't know if it's like the internal dialogue. I feel like sometimes in romances, just the authors get carried away with the internal dialogue, and a lot of the time it's very repetitive, and that's what gets really boring. So I don't know, but that's just how I felt. And also reading this, I think I found out that I'm not a big fan of love triangles unless this just wasn't done well. I love a love triangle when it's very clear that the girl always has a stronger pull towards one of them. Love that. But when in this one, it was very much until the very end, she just was not sure. That for me, I just don't like that because I'm more of I love a faded romance. I love, it's always been him. You know what I mean? Like I love that vibe. And so I just didn't care for the love triangle in this. And I love Elle Kennedy. Like her off-campus series is so good. Like it's one of my favorite series ever, romance-wise. And so to read this then, I was like, her off-campus series is so much better. So that's why I gave this one 3 stars. To be honest, I wouldn't recommend it. I just think it's not worth the time. To be honest, like I didn't get much from it. So yeah. Now we're moving up to the 3.5s. We have Lost and Lassoed, which is the 3rd book in the Rebel Blue Ranch series. In this one, we're following Teddy, who is the best friend to the girl that we follow in the 1st book. And we're following Gus, who is the oldest brother of the girl that we follow in the 1st book. It's got enemies to lovers. Gus is a single dad, so there's also that aspect. It was pretty good, but I have to say I expected a lot more from this one because of the enemies to lovers aspect, and I felt like Gus was a little bit too mean to Teddy for no reason throughout a lot of it in the beginning, so that kind of rubbed me the wrong way, and I did feel like the other 2 books I personally liked more. So yeah, I would recommend, because I actually really do like this series. So overall, the series I would recommend, and I would recommend reading this book. It wasn't my favorite of the series, but still a decent, fun read. Then we're moving on up in the world to our 4-star reads in the romance section. First Time Caller. This is a cozy little romance where a hopeless romantic meets a jaded radio host. Very Sleepless in Seattle vibes, and I thought it was pretty adorable, and I enjoyed the story overall. So 4 stars. For me, I just think the story, I wanted more. I wanted wanted more tension. This was more heartfelt than it was tensiony, if that makes any sense. So I did really like it and I would recommend, and that's why I gave it a solid 4 stars. But for me personally, I like a story with a little bit more drama and tension. And then the next book I'm going to talk about that was 4 stars, I read on Kindle Unlimited, Keeping 13. So Keeping 13 is the second book in the Boys of Tommen series. It follows the second part of Shannon and Johnny's love story. There's friends to lovers, it's a dual point of view, and lots of heart-wrenching drama that will keep you on your toes. I really enjoyed it, but I have a feeling that I'm going to enjoy literally everybody else's story more. Like, there was just something about Johnny and Shannon that their story was fine to me, but it was very much like I almost cared for their stories separately rather than like their romance just didn't do it for me. But hearing about all the other characters and kind of seeing what they're going through from the lens of Shannon and Johnny, I was like, I know I am going to love the other people's stories more. And I will say right now, I am in the middle of Saving Six, I think is the first one of Shannon's brother Joey's story. And I am like, the way that I am hooked on that, like I was not for Shannon and Johnny. Like, so I'm so excited to keep going because I really did love Shannon and Johnny's story, but I just felt like there was something missing for me personally. Then we have Howl, which was also a 4-star read for me. Howl is a friends to lovers werewolf romance with all the cozy Halloween Gilmore Girls vibes. I had so much fun with this one, and that's why I gave it a solid 4 stars. I felt like it wasn't 5-star material just because, one, I'm not a huge fan of friends to lovers, so oftentimes that will just knock a book down for me anyways, just because I feel like it's missing that tension of an enemies to lovers, or I don't know, yeah, the tension is really what I love. So with a friends to lovers, you don't necessarily get that same tension. It's like a different tension, which is not my favorite. But overall, this one was the most cozy. Like, I highly recommend this one. If you have time in the mornings to like drink a cup of coffee and read, this is like the perfect book for that. And this is perfect to read during spooky season. Highly recommend. And I can't wait to read the second book in this series because it's called Hunt and it's a enemies to lovers vampire. So into it, can't wait. And it's on Kindle Unlimited, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, hot tip. All right, now we're moving up to 4.25 stars with Magnolia Parks The Long Way Home. This is the third book in the Magnolia Parks universe series. It follows where the first book left off with Magnolia navigating love, friendship, and self-discovery. It was a classic Jessa Hastings Magnolia Parks read. It definitely gave off similar vibes to the first book in the series where we follow Magnolia, and it really just picks up where that left off. When I first start reading Jessa Hastings, the book is always super big, and I'm just like, this seems like a huge hill to climb. And then in the middle of it, I'm over halfway through and I'm like, where did the time go? Like, I'm enjoying it so much. So there's something about her writing that I do really enjoy, but I have to say that I enjoy Daisy just a bit more, which is the other. So it goes Magnolia Parks, then Daisy Hates, then another Magnolia Parks, then another Daisy Hates book, and so on. And so this one had a crazy ending though. Like, the ending to this one, because it kept, oh my gosh, this one was crazy. So that's why I gave it a 4.25, because I was like, it's a little more than a 4 for sure, but it wasn't quite 5 stars for me because that's how I feel about Daisy. Anyways, with this one, the crazy ending, it was acting like it was a happily ever after. And I was like, I know there's another Magnolia book. This is not real. Like, and I know Jessa Hastings, she usually in these books ends on a crazy thing. And I was like, when is it going to happen? It was the very last page. 4.25, it was a really good read, and I do recommend the Magnolia Park series. I really enjoy it. It's like Gossip Girl, but in London with socialites. It's really good. Then we're moving on to 4.5s, which I have Summer in the City. Some of you might be shocked at that because I feel like this has gotten very mixed reviews from people loving it or hating it. I loved it. I thought this one was I loved that it was short. Lately, I feel like a lot of romance books that I've been reading, it's like the authors feel like they need these romance books to be 400 freaking pages. And I'm like, it doesn't have to be that way. It can be 200 pages. Like, let's get a grip, you know? Like, you can tell a love story in that amount of time. It's okay. And so I really enjoyed that it was a little bit shorter, and obviously the book is beautiful, but the story was so fun. Basically, it's a spoony, fast-paced rom-com set in New York City where a screenwriter and a sexy tech CEO go from lovers to enemies and then back to lovers again. So obviously it's got an enemies to lovers. You know I'm going to be into it. I thought the characters and the energy in this was great. I enjoyed every minute of reading this. This one was just so much fun, so that's why it was a 4.5 stars for me, and I highly recommend. Another 4.5 stars was The Conditions of Will by Jessa Hastings. This is a slow burn romance with beautifully developed characters and emotional depth. And along with the romance, there's plenty of family drama and weird dynamics as well, and mystery too. It had a little bit of everything. It was great. I laughed, I cried, I swooned. 4.5 stars. I highly recommend. And now we have finally come to our 5 stars of the last 2 months in the romance category. So first up, let's talk about Daisy Hates, the second book in the Magnolia Parks universe that I gave 5 stars because I like Daisy Hates personally just as a character and also her story. I just enjoy it more than the Magnolia Parks ones, even though I really do enjoy the Magnolia Parks ones as well. This one, it was so like crazy dramatic in the best way. I absolutely loved it. I do wish the ending could have been different, but I know there's a next book after this one with Daisy Hates, so it couldn't end on like a happily ever after, but I really loved the romance in this, so of course I wanted it to, but I cannot wait to read the next Daisy Hates book, which is on my TBR for this month, so super excited. But yeah, 5 stars, highly recommend. Then we have Swift and Saddled, which is the second book in the Rebel Blue Ranch series. And if you remember, I did not give the third book in this series as much praise as I want to give this one because for some reason I just identified with the character of Ada so much. Like I loved her character. I just felt her character for some reason. And then I just loved the love story. Like this one I cried, I giggled. This was like, and it was short too. So it just had everything I wanted in a cutesy little romance, and I absolutely adored it. But basically, Ada is an interior designer who comes to the ranch to help Wes build his dream project on the ranch, and they fall in love along the way. And this one was just the cutest little romance. 5 stars. Then we come to my favorites of the last 2 months, Better Than the Movies, 5 stars, 100% hands down. This is the rom-coms of all rom-coms. A hopeless romantic teen attempts to secure a happily ever after romance with her forever crush, but finds herself reluctantly drawn to the boy next door. This had everything I wanted in a romance. It was emotional, fun, light, and heavy at the same time, and then it also had enemies to lovers. So when I tell you I do not really read like teen romances anymore because I'm in my 30s, like why am I reading that? But I kept hearing such good things about this book that I was like, I have to give it a try. You know what I mean? Like everyone raves about it, and this is why. It is so good. I don't care how old you are going to love this book. Like it's gonna make you feel all the feels. I was on a high. Like this is one of those books where I felt high afterwards. Like I was like, I'm riding this high until I can't possibly anymore. Like I was so happy after reading this. And then I went to the bookstore and I got myself Nothing Like the Movies, which I actually just finished the day before yesterday. So I just recently finished this one and I finished it in a day. I started and finished it in a day. Same with Better Than the Movies. They are so good. Like they're so bingeable and so good, but look how thick this is. Every part was necessary. Like this is such a good, well-written book. Like I don't have enough good things to say. This follows Wes and Liz after the whole high school romance happens, and then they're going off to college together, and then something tragic happens that breaks them up. Now Wes has to try to win Liz back, and so throughout the whole book, like it was them trying to get together again, and it was heartfelt again. Like the way that Lynn Painter was able to do this, like I don't even understand it, but it was everything to me, and I'm so sad that I will never get to read these for the first time again, and all I want is more books like this. I am addicted to Lynn Painter and her writing. I haven't read anything else by her, so I'm so curious if it's gonna be specifically this series for me or if I'm gonna like her other books. But when I say run, don't walk to go read these books, if you love a rom-com romance, trust me, you will thank me. These are so good. So anyways, yeah, those were definitely my favorites of the bunch. But yeah, anyways, so that's my July and August wrap up. So yeah, it was quite a summer of reading. I got quite a few books read. I want to know which one of these books you've read or which ones are you going to add to your TBR now. Comment below, let's chat. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any new videos. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.